Everybody, Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call? Present.
Present. James Rizzi is on her way.
Yes, he is.
Could I ask a question? Is Corey still a member of the board?
He hasn't officially resigned.
Because I know I sent him a couple of emails and I just wanted to answer, so you know what to do.
Okay. I'll
He
reach
said he
out.
was resigning, but I
Yeah.
don't know that he's actually sent the
Right,
letter.
until I get an official letter from Corey, I assume that he's on the board. I will follow up with him and ask him.
Well, you wouldn't get it, would you? I think Judy would get it.
Yeah.
Because she's the appointed
Yeah,
secretary.
he will CC it to me as well. All right, we all get a chance. Any questions on the meeting minutes? If there's no discussion on the meeting minutes, have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the last meeting.
I'll put the motion forward.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? All opposed? All right, meeting minutes approved. All right, who would like to do the lot improvement update? Jay, would you like to do that? Okay,
As far as the resurfacing goes, I talked to the company today that's doing that, and
what's the name of the company?
Felix
I'm sorry?
Marino. Felix Marino.
Felix Marino?
I talked to Mike there. It is high on their priority list, but of course, right now they are crazy. They expect to have it within the next 30 to 60 days, finished. After that, we need lines by Hines, and I told them the urgency of that because we need the warm weather to get the lines in there. If we're talking resurfacing, just so you'll know, the things I gave out last month, if you look at this one in the green on Johnson Street,
Yeah,
the catch basin is actually sinking, it's actually getting bad. At some point, I understand that block really isn't a priority, but the board should take a look at that. Just that section coming in is very bad right
now, that,
now. At the entrance to Johnson Street,
on the left side?
as you're driving in straight,
Yep.
there's a catch basin right here.
Yes, I see that.
And it's actually settling. The problem is, eventually, that's gonna cause a lot more damage to your lot, which is an asset.
Right.
The fencing was fixed there, not to get off of the pavement, the fencing was fixed. Everything in the yellow around here has been mulched. We went in, we actually completely de-weeded. I sent pictures out to most people. I didn't get your number, Tobinese gave it to me, so now you're included. But we completely went down to the bare ground there. Then we put in the weed barrier, then we put the bark mulch on top. So that lot is actually in fairly good shape. We do have that one patch of grass that we keep cutting. Again, I think next year this board should be looking to spray. If you remember last year I wanted to spray the weed kill, we should probably spray it next year to begin the season on top of that mulch, which will really help us control the weeds and keep that lot in good
Who's
shape.
doing that?
You have to have a license.
License, that's why I asked the question.
For spraying?
Yeah, DPW does have somebody on right now, but I have a funny feeling he may be retiring.
I
So-
think that Dan's the only one at Water and Sewer or DPW that has
Jimmy
that
Bach
license.
actually has that license right now, but I believe he is retiring.
So back to these lot improvements on, say, Andrew Street and Buffalo Street. Now, is that gonna be done in one particular day? Are you gonna close both lots?
That is up to the company, but he's believing he's gonna do both, for the most economical, they're gonna do both lots at the same time. They should be in doing the paving, then they're gonna go back a second time to do the sealing.
All right, how are we gonna communicate that?
We'll do that to the office, as every time we've ever done it, Jay.
Can we use the Chamber of Commerce also as well to communicate that?
Yep.
And maybe post it on Seth's website as also to get the word out. The Chamber of Commerce is actually a great, we can do an e-blast and make sure downtown businesses get that as well.
And we will also, we put a flyer on everybody's cars for weeks ahead, we let the attendant down on buses and let people know as they're coming in and stuff.
Does this work periodically happen during the weekends?
That's what we're hoping to do. I'm kind of hoping for, and he's talking to, his boss is in Toronto right now at a convention, but I'm begged more or less for Labor Day, because that would be perfect. Because the lot has very little, the only problem with that is we gotta notify the tenants in their buildings that they gotta get anything out, which Jay, Mary, and myself have done that many times, it's not a hard process. No cows.
I've been asked questions about when we do the relining, how many additional spaces do you think we can get on Andrew Street and Buffalo Street? Any estimate, to your knowledge?
In my opinion, because we had,
That's the layout we have right now in Andrew.
We had that looked at twice before when they did the layout.
What is it?
Short of making compact spaces, you know?
Yeah, how many spaces right now on Andrew?
I don't have the list with me. Is it on here?
That's okay, we can get back to that. We can get, because there's a lot of questions about, developing more, more spaces in downtown. So if someone said with relining of Buffalo Street, you can get additional up to 30 spaces, if that's accurate or not.
Don't you think it would be a better idea to make some lots cost more than others like they do in Salem?
Yeah, absolutely, we can get into that.
Yeah,
It's called variable pricing.
At the seminar we went to, that was a big thing.
What's that?
The seminar we went to, that was a big thing.
All right, so within the next 30 to 60 days, we should see resurfacing, relining on Buffalo and Andrew Street, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when does the automation process begin after that?
As soon as the final things are done, it should happen within, probably right after that period of time.
Does automation, some of the work have to happen before the relining in this?
No.
So it can happen?
Yeah, it's gonna be pads on top of the surface. And I think the big question will be on Andrew Street if we keep both gates open.
All right, any other questions regarding the lots resurfacing, relining?
No, I just have a question about the catch basin in Johnson Street. Is the water and sewer responsible for that?
Don't believe so. I think we've had to pay, I think Jamie had them do work sometimes and we had to pay for that.
I paid, and it was kind of pricey.
It was?
It was. It was definitely market rate. We didn't
Yeah.
get a discount.
I don't know if you want me to, again, we talked, Jamie, before you come in.
Yes.
Uh, Johnson Street coming in, it's starting to sag, it's causing problems by the catch basin. If we did something with just this area here, repaving it, and I understand we really don't want to spend money in the lot, but also you don't want to ruin an asset. And right now, the Johnson Street lot is an asset for the off-street. It's just the entrance coming in. It's actually sinking down, and at some point, it's going to be a dangerous situation, and eventually, there's going to be more erosion underneath, and
How is it an asset?
that water's worth money. It's an asset to the
Well, it's
off-street.
an asset that we make no money on.
That's why I'm just letting you know.
So, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that City Hall people shouldn't have a place to park, but,
Well,
and that the land costs money and is an asset in that regard, but I would think that this lot would be the last lot we'd be looking at.
is it
That's
an
why I put
expensive
the-
fix?
I don't know, I can get a price if you want, then we can talk about it at the next meeting.
Well, if it's not an expensive fix, I might ask DPW if they could
Just do
do
it.
it as a favor.
What the,
They will.
Yeah.
Is it a
So
sink,
it's-
is it a sinkhole?
I need
It's
to go look
deeping,
at it.
it's actually, there's a lot of spots in that whole section where the hot top is actually coming apart. It's a dangerous little section, and the problem is, right now, it is a if somebody gets hurt, it is liability
Well,
to,
that's a problem, for sure. I'm just,
if you want, I
So
can
then-
meet with Jamie, we can talk about the
They
DPW.
know it'll take a peek at it,
Yes.
so that they know what we're asking.
I mean, let's
Okay,
bring,
yeah.
let's look at bringing up to safety, and then we'll talk about the, repaving in line in the future.
Okay. Is that right at the entrance?
Yep, right at the entrance, Jamie. It's basically this green area.
I won't miss it. All right, I'll go
you
there.
can't miss it.
If it's still light when we get out tonight, I'll walk by.
If you want to continue on the lots, we had the situation on Andrew today where the person is doing water work. He got a permit from Water and Sewer and DPW. He's all set that way. In hindsight, they should have notified us. We got to make sure they put it completely back in the condition that it was in.
They're taking out the water that was in for
No,
the
they're adding
bathrooms,
water
or-
and sewer into the Nandy's building.
Okay.
They blocked off the whole back section of our lot. I actually sent the pictures out today, but they got 10, 12 spots of ours. The whole back section of Nandy's is fenced off.
I have such a
But-
little phone.
They should be renting those
And there was no
lots.
correspondence from Lynn Water Sewer in our department at all? How does that
Or the
happen?
person who's doing the work.
I
I find that hard,
it's,
I know.
it's very difficult for me to understand you go into a public lot without any, communication with the department and go ahead and start digging.
Right. I think what happened was the people went to water and sewer, got all their permits and just assumed everything was okay to do it, and I didn't realize that they had to come.
A lot of
They
people don't
got
know
dig
that they're
safe permits
separated.
and everything.
Yeah, I think it was just an error.
I don't know if the board wants to be charging something for the spots that are out of use right now, or just let it go.
How much out of use? How many days?
And how many days?
This is
Should-
day two.
Should be finished by.
Okay, if it's a day or two, I'm not gonna
That's
go
all,
and,
so totally.
you know, and.
And the big thing is we wanna make sure the repairs are done correct.
That's the follow-up, yeah, that's the most important thing.
Because again, you've got a crack now that's gonna go right down our lot on each side of that pavement. We wanna make sure it's sealed correct and the hot top is in, it's not gonna sink.
Okay, I'd like to move on to signage. Signage has been, it's been coming up as an issue now, with a
That
lot of the.
actually number does not work. I called the number on the truck, the phone number does not work. We do have the plate of the vehicle, and we have the name through water and sewer now.
Okay.
Maybe we should tell them that their number is not active on the trucks.
The only other quick thing, Paso, is on, the other lots were in fairly good shape. The Ellis Street lot we are doing right now, in case anybody, more for information, if anybody hears anything on it. We just mulched this whole side. What we're doing is the same thing. We're taking out all the grass that's there, we're getting it back to the thing, we're putting the vapor barrier in. We're gonna be doing the green sections tomorrow. The orange section, we should be doing probably next year or something or other. We get more mulch or something other, because we're just running out of time this year. And again, this blue section, we should be looking at paving, and you pick up some extra spots in that lot at some point. As far as the lots go, Lynn Housing has been giving us the kids for the summer. That is ending Thursday. I believe there is gonna be some extension on that.
Oh. Well, the question is, when those kids are gone, what's the maintenance plan?
I believe there's gonna be an extension on that for a little period. And then also, I talked to John Kasayan, and I believe we're gonna end up with somebody from them. And he's hoping that will be funded through one of the grants that's coming out. If not, we may have to meet part of the cost, maybe split it, but we can talk about that when it's happening. Right now, Lynn Hands is gonna extend it for a little bit longer, I believe, for a lot less kids.
Even if we're splitting the cost with, is that community development you're
Yes.
talking about? It's still a cheap thing for us to have
It's
a
the way to
meeting.
go, and I'll tell you, we spent a lot of money on mulch a few years ago. They didn't put down the weed barrier. We got the mulch from community development, which even if we bought the mulch and stuff, we're talking under $1,000 probably for materials. These kids actually did all of Johnson Street and half of Ellis Street. All the tree beds have been done in all the lots. So you're getting the bang for your buck for the kids, and it's not costing us anything for the kids, but even if we were paying half of it, you'd still be getting the bang for your buck.
Do you think that we need a full-time person maintaining the lots? How many hours a week do we need to spend? Just to maintain and spruce them up and keep them.
It's a full-time job, with someone going around the lots. But again, maybe we can have somebody in the department supervise, and we can keep the kids. You just gotta, I've been out of the,
Yeah, but the kids are gone during the school year.
I think we can keep the kids year-round. With this grant coming up, it's gonna go until November, and then we'll see what happens after
But when
that.
will these kids be able to work?
Some of them are older, so they're in college and out of school, so they can do it during the day. The biggest problem in the winter is it starts getting dark 4 or 5 o'clock, so it's something you really gotta do during the day.
So,
So are you talking just for cleanup, every day
Cleanup.
cleanup?
The problem with the lots is we've cleaned them up, I can show you pictures. We clean them up on a Monday, they're a mess on Tuesday. It's just,
So that's why his suggestion of maybe a full-time person or even a 4-hour-a-day person every
and
day
then Saturdays and Saturdays, then have it like a full cleanup day with the
with the
kids.
kids.
but even us, we're hitting with 5, 6 kids in one lot. You go to the next lot, by the time you go to the Len lot, the first lot's already got stuff in it again.
But the 5 or
It's-
6 kids are doing the mulching and everything.
Oh, no, I got kids just picking up the trash. The biggest problem you have is, even with a 40-hour guy, it's just constantly going around, it's just a never-ending loop.
Right?
Can I ask you something? I went to an event at Tatiana's last week, I believe, and there was a barrel tipped over on the sidewalk on Buffum Street.
Yep.
Where's that, who owns that barrel?
That's community development.
It was filled up, and it was 7 o'clock at night, and it was tipped over.
That could be, who knows, kids walking by, knocking over. It's down the Buffum Street area, I've seen some very interesting things when we picked up and stuff.
Yeah, sure. But the idea is to have a maintenance program in place for when those kids do leave.
Again, I think we can keep the kids, but the biggest problem I have is I'm out there, I've been to the office, I'm back out with them, I'm going crazy being out in the lots maintaining.
Well, that shouldn't be your responsibility, that should be
Ah.
someone should be maintaining those lots, you know, even if it's a part-time basis.
Or if we could have somebody in our office overlook it and have the kids do it, but you need somebody to actually direct.
What have we had?
Any suggestions from the commissioners on a maintenance program?
I
mean,
still
do you-
think the idea of hiring someone to work 5 days a week.
Even if we took
Even
bids
if
on a
it's-
landscaper and, yeah, right up the
Landscaper
scope of
would
work?
probably be,
More
Costs a lot of
expensive?
money, yeah,
you're almost better off hiring one of these kids and let them
Landscapers
just
are
hire
gonna
them.
come in every day
part-time, right, just,
and clean up trash. They're just gonna mulch.
I got two of the kids that are older in their 18s, hire somebody like that to just maintain the lots.
yeah, no,
Well-
If you can
no
write out what it
involved, no
would cost, what it
benefits.
would cost us, you know, let's look into that.
If you're doing something full-time, if you're paying
Like $300 a week?
probably 400, but what's the minimum wage is going up to what, 9? January
Yeah.
1st?
Yes.
City pays more than minimum wage.
City.
Well, shouldn't we figure out how much money we have left?
Right.
Because we're gonna go through it awful quick, even if
I would
we're
say we
paying
should
cheap
wait
money.
until the next meeting or meeting after. Let's see how the summer program and the community development thing, if we don't have to spend money yet, the lots right now look good. I think they're gonna continue
Yeah, they
looking
look
good.
good, yeah, because we have 5 or 6 people on those lots.
Well, right now, we have 16 kids from
And
housing.
that's
Some
gonna
of them are doing
continue
weeding,
until possibly November.
no, with less kids. But in other
Right,
words, we're not gonna be doing
You're
the
not gonna do
mulching.
mulching.
We're not gonna be
Right.
doing the weeding, we're just gonna be doing the maintenance. So we should be fine.
That might be
And if not, believe me, I'll be the first to scream in reality and let you know we need help. But I think we should just, why spend money if we don't have to?
I don't wanna have a gap though, a big gap between when those kids are definitely gone
No, we'll know way
and leave it
before that.
unattended.
Well, you gotta have it year round, because even in the winter, I don't care if it's December, you have mess.
We can address this at our next meeting.
Or the meeting
Once we've
after.
made improvements
Yeah.
and we see where our cash flows.
And again, there may be another grant money, or there might be something from housing that will take us through to the next. But I wouldn't spend money till we have to. And I believe Judy is trying to keep a tight rein on revenue.
Everybody will move on to the next one. The signage is the next issue. Signage has been coming up a lot. You know, a lot of the residents and some people that are visiting the city, you know, our parking lots, they go to the Andrew Street lot and they try to put money in the meters at, you know, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock and find out that it's free. We need to do something, I think temporary, put up a sign that states that it's free until further notice.
So it's gonna be free
But
till
it's
when?
6
Well,
at
we,
6 p.m.
it's been free until we come out with a concrete plan. I think we've
The
been
only problem
systematic.
is if you put something up saying free, and then down the road you change it a month from now, it's gonna be
Right.
more confusing for people.
Wasn't it free just for,
Till
just during the
Christmas.
business hours?
Meters were free.
Right.
Well, there are people trying to put money in there. There's other people saying, why pay?
You're talking about the
industry.
automation?
Yeah.
and the-
Um,
Not the meters.
Not the meters,
Oh,
the
the
automation.
automation.
um,
But shouldn't it be, because my understanding that it was free in the evening,
Through the
For
holidays.
purposes-
Have to sit.
and holidays in the evening.
And we extended,
No, I meant
we extended
through
it.
the
We never.
holidays.
we
But not
never-
overnight.
No, not overnight, not overnight. But
No,
when
but
people
if you
go,
go into Rosetti's, say, you
Right.
can go in and park free.
Right.
right,
Yeah.
so we need,
But the sign is gonna say what?
that's what the suggestions have to cover, I
'Cause
think.
it will have to say no overnight parking. It will have to say,
But there is overnight parking in that lot.
No free overnight.
No free
so,
overnight.
No free.
right.
And I'd like to
well,
get into that later on in discussion.
And I know what you're saying, people confused, but I go into Boston and I pay a machine, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to or not, there's no signs, there's no directions on it. I go into other communities, I go to a
Salem
meter.
too. It's
You're
on the
right, I do in
website,
Salem.
but it is
Yeah,
not.
I put
it's
money
not
in.
on
Okay,
signs.
just
I put money
because.
in it, sometimes I understand what you're saying, but I see, sometimes it might convolute it more. You're gonna have to have something, well, okay, I'm not a monthly parker, I'm this, I'm that. And also, you don't wanna make it too, cumbersome for people to read, and you don't wanna take away from the businesses down there, and the residents are looking to park, everybody's looking to park, you're gonna all of a sudden,
Your suggestions are well taken, but we need to have a sign dictating what you just said.
either that or just have it,
Well,
you,
it's gonna
That would
be
be like a
things.
booklet.
I
It's gonna be a
know.
booklet.
It
No,
would be-
something-
It's not
Something
easy.
simple, like overnight parkers, you know, they should have something stating what they should be paying or what their hours are of operation.
That's not in Salem.
are you looking to charge for that water at some point? If you are, you might as well just do it now.
We will, we will.
Maybe you should just take the vote now and do it.
Right, well, we should make the signs we shouldn't make the signs twice.
Yeah,
So
it's
if
kinda,
and not change them twice, so we should decide.
My question is to you guys, would you like to have Andy Hill come in and give us an idea, recommendations of what we should say, what those signs should say? Those are the discussions that I've had with him. I'm not an expert to see who should park for how much.
Jay, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, exactly, that's why I would look towards you guys to give me recommendations. I can get the recommendation of the consultant, but I don't know how much the overnight parking should be for the city.
Personally, I think if you're looking to help the business community and the residents,
Yes.
you have to have some charge down here.
No, absolutely
Even
right,
if
I'm
it's
not
reduced
gonna
charge.
say that, but I would like to, I don't maybe wanna charge the residents for overnight parking the same amount as the day parkers. I would probably like to see them probably do it at a cheaper cost,
Why, they're longer hours.
but they're not peak hours though.
I know.
Yeah, but they're not
Snow
out
and everything
necessarily,
else.
but a lot of them
Okay, so-
live and work right here. So they're not necessarily gone at 7 o'clock in the morning.
And when you have
people
snow
are coming
removal,
in.
it costs you more money because you're in there at night when you're trying to do the snow removal. I think that's a real subject that this board has not addressed, and you keep skirting, no disrespect, but you
Right.
keep skirting around it. I think you just gotta come to a conclusion of, this is what we're gonna do, rather than, let's put up a sign for this today, let's put up a.
Right.
I've been hearing this sign for 6 months,
Yeah,
and
I agree with you.
I think
Right.
it's,
but who's gonna make that decision? I don't feel
The
comfortable
board.
making that decision.
Well, we're gonna have
That's
to all
what we're
get
here
together and
for.
talk.
Right, but I mean, I like suggestions from my parking director, what he thinks it should be too.
Well, first of all, I don't think you can, how you implement it is one thing, but I don't, you're talking about a lot of lots here, and I don't think you should focus on any one of them in terms of what you're gonna do in this lot, because you got a much broader base than that. So really, what you're talking about is a pricing policy that applies to all of the lots. Because what you don't wanna do is set something up for Andrew Street, and then 3 months from now, when you do something with Buffalo, go to Buffalo and say, well, are we gonna do the same thing here, is it gonna be different? The pricing structure is something that should be applicable across the board
Oh, I disagree with that
consistent.
100%.
and consistent.
Has anybody here looked at the website for Salem?
Yes,
Okay, well, if you look at the website for Salem, and I'm certainly not gonna hit all of the points. If you park in this lot, which is right in the middle of all the courts, where all the lawyers wanna park, where all the restaurants are, that costs you $7 for 4 hours. And you can't stay there beyond a certain, I mean, in the lot you can, I'm sorry.
because
If
it's
you're in a
heavy-
lot in a garage that's 3 blocks away, it's a little bit less.
Right.
If you're out on the skirts and you're willing to walk a mile, then it costs you almost nothing. But the lots that are in the places that they want, and I don't park down here. I do, but I park in the court lot and I have a spot and I pay for it and it is what it is. I don't park in Andrew Street. But the ones that I keep hearing are Buffum, Andrew, and Ellis.
Right, nobody wants to park on School Street.
Well, so guess what? School Street should
It's
be cheaper.
You're right, and that's what we
And
did
then
to
somebody
those
who
tenants.
doesn't, I don't have the money to pay for that overnight, well, guess what? You can go to School Street and pay
Right.
$15 a month, or whatever. I'm not suggesting that
No.
that be the price. But I do not agree that every single parking lot in this city should have the same cost, because then every single person is gonna fight to be in Buffum Street
You're right.
or Andrew Street, because that's where they live. So here's the thing, if you live if you live in Central Square and you wanna park in Buffum Street and you have the money, good for you. You're gonna pay $60 a month.
Right,
But if you're willing to walk a little ways just to keep your car off the street, then you can go over to School Street and pay $15 a month. Or again, I'm not suggesting that those be the prices, but I 100% oppose having every single lot in the city have the same price. And then have Johnson Street, which has no price and nobody can park in it except City Hall. And I drive by it at least for a whole week, all the time, while I'm going to Lynn when I'm scheduled there, and it's never full. Never. Ever, ever full.
Unfortunately, Johnson Street is tied into the unions
I'd like to see that,
in
actually.
City Hall.
I don't
That's the
imply
reason
that's
for
not
it.
true, but I would.
No, it
really
is,
like
because
to.
employees used to pay to park there. It wasn't a lot of money,
No.
but was
$3.
It was
Right.
like $3 a week or something.
I'm not even
And then-
suggesting they should have to pay, that's not the point. But we need to figure out how many people are really in there, who's really allowed to be in there. And if there are 15 extra spots, then rent them out to some lawyer who's coming from Danvers every day and does all of his work in Lynn District Court, and he's willing to pay you $100 a month.
Well, the other thing that you need to look at too, when you consider, especially when you consider pricing policy, is use Johnson as an example. You know, are there other uses for Johnson that are not currently being used now?
Overnight.
Case in point, what if there's a function in City Hall?
Right,
And-
Well, they are parking there for.
No.
For free right now.
But no, but it's just happening, it's
Right.
not by design.
right.
What I'm saying is by design.
Because people are giving it a whack. Give that a shot, nope, I don't get
And
it.
by addressing those kinds of issues, what you don't face is 2 months from now, someone come in and saying, well, what about this and what about that? You can turn around and say, well, we addressed all of that. And we took that into consideration and we felt, given everything else, this is the best way to proceed with a policy.
I totally agree with that.
And that's, it's
And I think
it's
we should
kinda
be
hit and
charging it
miss.
as a concept.
Right.
I agree.
I mean, it's rolling now. When it wasn't rolling, when it was new and people were like, oh, I want to go downtown,
Yeah.
that's a different story, but you know what, everybody wants to come
Well,
downtown.
why should?
So if it's $5, it's $5, it doesn't have to be expensive, but I think that we
I'm
should
not,
be
I'm not
getting
even
something
talking
for it.
about money, because I think
Oh, yeah.
it comes to usages, and then you address money.
Those side streets,
Okay.
side street.
And our rate right now,
I think it's like
I'll tell you right now, is on the low side.
Oh, I know it is.
Okay, so maybe some rates should be higher than that, and some rates should be lower than that.
Forget
But
how much it was.
you first need to decide how you want the lots used, then you can talk about money.
I agree.
But the parking seminar basically said 100% what you did. You market your
I
lots
didn't
for
even go.
demand.
The lot right next to the courthouse on Sutton Street side, they charge the show night for people to park in
Yeah,
there.
Well,
and they
They
get
had somebody
a
out
lot
there.
more money,
Were they getting $20?
$20.
That's what I thought I saw the sign
It's
say.
really super
Yeah.
close though, and anybody who's afraid to be in downtown Lynn doesn't,
Johnson
you know.
Street's just as close, so is an Andrew, just almost, a little bit further.
Right,
So-
right.
to Jane's point, I mean, and I agree with Jane, it should be, variable pricing. I think, it's supply and demand. Buffum Street and Andrew Street seems to be the lots that are really, mass
Demand.
in demand. Keep those at a certain rate, and then, lower the price on Ellis Street for overnight parkers. Maybe for overnight parkers, resident parkers, move them towards Ellis Street and School Street. Make that a lot cheaper for overnight parkers and make them more attractive for them.
And not to throw you off, but just to let you all know too, I think Tasso was surprised, we cleaned the Lewis Street lot, the Brickett lot. You people also have a lot down there. The school department parks in it. But just so you know that it is something that's out there. Because I think Tasso was surprised when
I'm surprised.
no, that's our lot and the school department parks in it.
Yeah, so it's,
Is the school
Is that tied
department,
to
is
a
the school
contract?
department paying?
No, there's no money, there's nothing, it's just
no, that was
a deal.
the deal when it was turned over.
The school has zero land, so basically it's,
City got the lot.
So we
So
own
why
it.
are we responsible for it then?
they maintain it, but we had the kids go clean it. Because
We
ISD,
had to send the kids to clean it, they weren't maintaining it, were they?
ISD actually was busy this summer, they asked if we would do it. ISD gives us all kinds of things, it was just a reciprocal thing we do.
Okay, I'm cool. with that.
ISD is unbelievable.
I
with this
don't mean to be
department.
giving you a hard time. I
Can we
just-
sell that lot then?
To the school department?
Yeah.
I don't know, we technically know.
So,
I'll look it up.
give,
Do you know the address?
You know the address on Lewis?
No, I don't.
It's all right, I'll find it.
I can get it.
Of the school?
No,
the
the lot,
parking
the
lot.
lot beside it.
Oh, I didn't think.
that's
It
when,
would be close.
Aren't they building
Oh,
something right
it's-
next to Brickett?
Well, there's that whole,
Well, they're building something on it now, I think.
he's building.
No, that's,
the
Andrew
back
Perkins.
Thing back.
If you looked at the building they're rebuilding, then you have the school, we're the other lot on the corner, that holds about 20 cars.
His people cars driving it.
Everybody parks in it.
Yeah.
14.
At overnight, we park during the day, but again, that's something that you could possibly do an overnight pass for to the residents, $20, and they have to be out by 7 o'clock for school.
Well, couldn't you do something like that with Johnson Street? A lot of houses over there don't
And
have.
then you get.
Quick question to Seth. Seth, do you think,
They get
what
told
parking lots do you
they're not out by
do you
7, they
feel
get
that the
told.
downtown residents find attractive for overnight parking?
Just, based on where we're located downtown, like I heard mentioned, it's Buffum and Andrew are the big lots. You're gonna find people who don't even know the other two lots exist. But I suppose it'd be a good thing to let them know about them,
Well,
but,
Mount Vernon, some of those people down there parking.
oh, Mount Vernon makes sense, yeah,
Because it's closer to them to park in that lot.
yeah.
And right now, no one parks overnight at Ellis Street,
We have a few from Mount Vernon.
and are they paying?
But they're paying the same as the people that are above, right?
Right now.
Right, because they were all the same. But-
Would you consider, lowering the price on Ellis and School Street so that, we can clear the overnight parkers from Buffalo?
I think our prices are too low.
Yeah, I think what needs to happen is we
I mean,
raise
when
the
was the last
prices
time
in the
there was
others.
a raise in the price?
And if you were gonna do something on Ellison School, do it in one, not both. So you can have all the cars in one lot. That way, when you're plowing and clearing them, it will just be condensed into one area.
I don't think people being, I don't think that if the significant drop the rates and say the School Street, that you're gonna get residents who live on the other side to want to park there. It's just not human nature, okay? People in general, the studies have shown that people in general won't walk more than 300 or 400 feet from either where they work or where they live.
They're lucky they
So
don't
you'll
work in
pick
Salem.
up, you'll pick up some people who will be willing to do that because the price will
Council, good
be
seeing
right,
you.
be right for them, but I wouldn't have my hopes
But that's
up
a
that
choice
you're
they
gonna-
make, though.
No, I hear what you're saying, okay? I just wouldn't be too optimistic that if we're planning on a real busy lot and we've got 20% of, I'm just using numbers, 20% of those parkers, residents, that when we implement this new price policy, that all 20% are gonna go, you're not even gonna get anywhere near a majority of those people to go.
I think
It's
you're
just-
right about that, but I think that we will get, if we increase the price appropriately, and I don't mean make it a skyrocket from where it is, because that's a little shell shock for everybody, but if ever this board is going to get money that they are bringing in, we have to be bringing in enough money to make it worth, okay, so if you're gonna park in Buffum, you're gonna pay to park in Buffum, and we'll at least have the money to deal with the problems that causes, like the snowplow guy that needs to come back because somebody left their car there, and they need to be ticketed every single time, and they need to be made to pay them.
23 Central right now is looking to put apartments upstairs and a restaurant on the main floor. They're gonna be looking to use Buffum Street. These things are gonna, for the business to survive, either the residents to survive, you gotta be able to move the vehicles.
Is there signs right now about overnight parking on Buffum and Andrew Street? The rules?
No. The only signs we
There
have
should
is.
be though.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
There's no, if someone wants to
Sign.
park overnight, there's no signs that saying you can overnight park or anything. There's
How much
nothing
it
there.
costs.
So people are guessing. It's a guessing game for some of these
That's
people.
all
I can
true,
feel
but
it.
how many signs are we gonna put up?
And it's an expense to keep.
We
making
have
signs.
never come up
No, I mean,
with an answer.
one sign, at least the basic information.
Yeah, but Tasso,
basic-
right
That's
now.
what they're,
We don't
that's
know
what they're
what it
asking
is.
for. Hmm?
We don't know what that is right now, so how would we make a sign that says?
We're also gonna need enforcement.
I
Now,
frankly think these restaurants should do valet parking and we should let them use Johnson Street at night.
One Market Square.
For free.
like the lot
You
next
can
to
use
Brothers,
that. Don't use
Yeah.
it for all that other
Um,
business. Then you can clean it up in a
A lot
snowstorm.
of the businesses park there, like the travel agent, she pays $99 a month to park over
To the
there.
people
Where's
that,
that, Jim?
The one next to
Brothers
Brothers,
down
is that one
Yeah,
Market
yeah.
Square?
Oh, yeah, that's big
She
money.
pays
Oh,
though.
yeah.
$99 a month to park there,
wow.
99.
It's always been relatively higher than the city.
The MBTA is
But
70.
it's a convenient lot.
$70
You pay
a
for
month, I
convenience.
know. That was another thing we discussed before, maybe doing some sort of a deal with the MBTA.
They would
To get
reduce
the
the rates, we
residents.
met with them.
Oh, really?
They
And they
reduced
wouldn't?
the rates. They reduced it, but it wasn't enough to make it worth our while. It was reduced by like $20. But
But
that
if
was
we're gonna
still.
Yeah,
Price.
what is it there now, 60, 65, $70?
But if you paid, you would be willing, somebody might be willing to pay $60 a month to have a covered spot out of the weather.
You mean in there, but nobody.
Yeah.
else.
Nobody really lives there.
Did you have any contact person for the
It's
MBTA?
full,
Yes.
it's snow zone.
I'd like to reach out to them, if you can phone me that number.
Yep.
When was the last time you spoke with the MBTA?
That was a year ago, and you, me, Jim Cardell, and Jamie Marshall went with them. That was it.
I wasn't there, was I? No, I wouldn't remember.
Corey?
Maybe Corey was, yeah. I missed that.
Okay, then it was Corey.
And they weren't willing to lower it at all? Did they give you a reason?
They
why?
did lower, they wanted to lower, but it was, if we bought 100 spots,
Right.
then it would be lowered approximately $20, and that still made it about $30 more than we're charging right now, even at the reduced rate.
And there's still like 50% capacity there,
Well, you
right?
can understand why nobody wants to go there if they can get the city for 40 or
Right.
45.
Yeah. That goes to show you, when it's a lower, they won't go there, even if it's covered. They'd rather
Right.
pay a cheaper price and avoid that lot.
Yeah.
People will go for the cheaper, it's human nature.
It's not the cheaper, it's the closer.
It's
The uncovered lot that they're gonna have to wipe their car off in is 50 feet from their front door. The garage is a half a mile from their front door. They're not gonna walk it.
It's
That's
the
my.
elevators, the stairs,
Yeah,
and it's
I
the
don't
lack of
see-
cameras, and it's the lack of maintenance in that lot also.
I would,
Yeah.
but it's only because honestly, I'm in Salem so much that I'm parking about in Peabody on Bridge Street and walking in
Yep.
snow up to my navel. So I'm used to that now, and people who go to Boston all the time are used to that now.
right.
But people who live and work right in the same town, guess what? They want to pull up out front and walk in the door. I guarantee you that people that are getting a free parking spot in Johnson would pay $100 to park in.
No,
Jay
people who are
Fenton's
getting a
spot
free
by the
parking
door.
spot in Johnson
Gee,
park at the meters, which is why we don't have any metered parking around the building, because employees, even though it's free, in the Johnson Street lot, are parking all around the building, because it's closer.
We just sent out a memo
Really?
on that.
Yeah.
Wow. Never thought of doing that when I worked here.
So I really think that we should set up a price schedule and make the ones that are valuable to everybody costly. And then they can make their own choice. You can still have Buffum Street, but you're gonna pay more. If you wanna walk a half a mile, then you can go to School Street and it'll be significantly cheaper. That's my opinion, and it isn't because I'm, you know,
Well, that's the whole gist of the
I
seminar.
want the restaurants to survive, I want people to be able to park there, I want it to be user-friendly, but I also, you know, it's not free anywhere else. We're not Salem yet, but we're coming.
And
So
there's
I'm
a
not saying
cost.
we need to charge what they're charging, but we still need to look at
You know
what they're doing and do a scaled-down version of that.
Well, the
For
cost
what
to
we
maintain
have.
it.
There's a video of that seminar.
Yes.
EDIC, I believe, had, or Metropolitan Planning Council. I can try to forward that to you guys. Just the speech that the UCLA professor said, you know, about parking in the state and parking across the country, what the current trends are, what's working out there. I'm gonna forward you that, because it's about a 10 minutes conversation, and it's pretty interesting. It's exactly what we've been talking about. It's supply and demand, and that's how you price things out. Not to keep beating a dead horse, like things like signage.
You can't do signage till you get
Something.
prices.
Yeah.
And we keep talking about it, but we gotta get something concrete.
So the next
worst thing you can
meeting,
do to a consumer is give
Everybody
them
needs to
faulty
write out a
information.
draft of what they think. Homework.
And that's
Because every time we
that's
go and
including
say we
everyone.
need signs, we should do this, we
We
should do
don't know
that,
what to
but we
write
never
on
do
it.
anything.
Right.
I also think the next meeting shouldn't be a month from now if we're gonna actually act on this. We need to get this done, so that this is not the same recurring theme every month. It's getting old.
Not to skip over the financial, we've been talking about the audit now for over a year. The auditor, picking out an auditor. Are we prepared to pick out an auditor, a consultant?
I think I am.
Are you prepared?
Yeah.
A financial auditor.
No,
Management audit.
Oh,
more of a management audit. And
Oh,
and this consultant, we shouldn't say auditor, let's use the word consultant. And this consultant will help us with signage, with pricing, relative to our lots, give us, you know, and give us his recommendations. And I think based on his recommendations, I think as a group, we can work off that. Do you guys feel comfortable doing that?
No.
And that's what, I mean, we're not talking about a full
How
extent
come
audit.
we make a motion? Should we make some motion?
Oh.
You haven't had a motion yet.
I know. Shouldn't we make a motion to do that?
Go ahead, and I'll second it.
I'll make a motion to hire
A consultant.
So we can pick the consultant today. We don't need to, believe we don't need approval from anybody else. We have, within our right as a board, we can pick the consultant.
Tasso, the only thing I would, remember when we had the meeting with the Hingston?
Yeah.
And Steve Spencer went and asked for an opinion from Mike Barry.
Okay.
I think it's still gonna be subject to 30B.
Why is that? Now it's every subject, before it wasn't. I'm confused.
No, before it wasn't on state, in other words, if we had someone, we wanted a fence put up and we had someone on the state list, we don't need to go through the bid. We can go out and hire that fence company to put the fence up, okay? This is something different, and quite frankly, I don't know, because we haven't done it before, I don't know if there are companies, I don't know, for example, Andy Hill's company, he may be on the state list. If that's the case, then it's just a matter of defining what it is. You want pricing information, you want signage, you want input on cameras or automation, or however, whatever it is the commission wants. Then he can give you a price and you can go out and do it.
So the legal opinion from them is not in yet, is that?
No, it came in, but it is
It
not
depends
clear
on-
because
It depends on the cost.
he said that, I don't have it here, but
Maybe we should have Mike come to the next meeting.
It
well,
depends
either
on-
that or just have him clarify.
Well, it depends on the cost.
I am so,
consultant, if
I
it's
get
under
conflicting reports from the legal perspective 3 times now. First time we were waiting, and we were going through the process of trying to meet with, and we went through the process of just meeting with the consultant 2 at a time or 1 at a time, so we won't, overstep our boundaries.
I understand.
And then we met with the financial auditor, and now we, as a board, I think we feel comfortable, we're not doing a financial audit, we're doing a managerial audit. So that kind of takes that consultant out of the game right now, out of the discussion.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that.
Okay. So right now, I'm being told that I have to get clarification if this is a 30B.
Well,
It depends on the
it's
cost.
It's my opinion that, for example, on another matter, automation, if
Then
we
it
were gonna,
should be
if we
more.
were gonna spend 60,000, I'm pulling a number on you.
Which is not.
If we were gonna spend $60,000 on automated equipment to automate more of the lots, okay? I don't think we can just go out and do it, but I don't wanna be the one making that decision and telling the board, you can't do it. I think it just needs to be clarified. And it can be a specific question asked, it doesn't have to be broad-based, okay? You wanna hire a management consultant, okay, to provide information about the operations of the off-street lots, okay, that include 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. And can this be done without going through
The competitive bid process.
the competitive bid? Now, to make this even more complicated, if you were doing a financial audit, you wouldn't have to do it because financial audits in the state of Massachusetts are exempt. That's what I know.
So we have to get a price from the consultant first?
No,
An
well,
estimate?
the first thing I would
Well,
want to
the first thing
clarify.
we have to
That's
find
all
out
has
is
to
do
work.
we need to
Can
do
we,
that?
right, can we just independently go out and hire a management consultant, okay, to do work on behalf of the Off-Street Parking Commission relative to the lots?
Maybe Chuck White could clarify that, right? Wouldn't he be the one that would be able to say whether it would be just
He's
a
not a
quote
lawyer, though.
or a bid?
Yeah, but I think
follow
It
we-
depends on the cost.
I think we really, I think Chuck's a good person to ask, but I would also ask the lawyer.
Because if you're talking chapter
I'll
30B,
take
yeah, it could be.
Not now.
And I'm not trying to say
Because we don't know.
we shouldn't go ahead and do this by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want to be the one that is saying yes or no, but that's my understanding of the issue.
So we'll get clarification on that.
Why don't you take a vote there if you get it clarified?
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion
And
that
it's
we
okay.
have the law department clarify whether or not this is a 30B issue or not.
And I'll second
And
it.
what I was gonna suggest is that this commission take a vote tonight, subject to getting clarification, so that if the clarification is provided, okay, and you can go out as a commission and just hire a management auditor, then you don't have to come back to another meeting and rehash the thing
Do you
again.
want to withdraw your motion and restate the motion?
Yes, I will withdraw and restate my motion. So, I am making a motion that we go to the law department and find out whether or not this is a 30B issue or not. And if it is not, I would like tonight, whatever we decide for the consultant, whoever we decide the consultant to be, will be instituted as soon as we know that it's not 30B. If it is 30B, then we have to go through that process.
I'll second.
That was a little bit lengthy, but I think I got my point across.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Discussion? All opposed? Motion's passed. All right, can we move on to financial, please? Do we have financial copies?
Oh, thank you, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
July's on the next page, it's in the fiscal calendar.
Jay, you want to narrate for us?
Yeah, the top sheet is for fiscal year 2014, it runs from July through June, and that's complete. And so you can see the last column is the totals. The next sheet is the same form, but for fiscal year 2015, and again, it runs from July to June. Since we've only completed the month of July, it's only showing 1 month. So if you look at July 13 versus July 14, you'll see that the total on the lot money is almost identical, 17.5 to 17.3. The daily park is on the 3 lots listed, Andrew Buff and Manellis. You'll see in 2014, almost double, a little more than double what was compared to 2013. That's 2,072 to 4,755. And there's nothing showing on the kiosk credit cards for 2013 because we didn't have a kiosk at the time. So you're showing the month of July at $2,089 for the kiosk.
The kiosk money is added in where you see daily parkers. The kiosk credit cards, that's only the credit card.
Right.
Portion, not the,
Yeah.
It's not the cash. So you can see in 2013, or fiscal year 2014, okay, you've got 222, 269, 271, $290,000 for revenue. That's aggregate health loss.
It's odd that on February, Buffalo Street is overloaded, it's their busiest, and then Andrew Street is not.
That could be people pay in advance.
Yeah, I caution you against making comparisons 1 month to the next
That's
month.
the income tax.
Or
So somebody
1
paid
month
for 6
from
months.
before, because
Like the health center paid that month.
Is there any way we can break that down in a report? No, I'm just asking.
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking for.
To depict that, because it seems like the numbers are skewed. I mean,
Okay, can you show me, Tasha, which one we?
I'm looking at just January 2014.
Yep,
I'm sorry, yeah, February 2014.
yep.
I look at Andrew Street lot, and it's 2,900. The month earlier was 7,700.
Yeah, I can,
It's a
but if
$5,000
you look, if you will, look at the month before
Yeah.
and the
Which
month
is-
after.
Okay,
Okay, if you look at December and March, or for that matter,
yeah.
prior to December and from March on.
So money was
you'll
collected in
see-
January?
Yeah, for some reasons, we may not have had the money, we may have gone over from the 30th to the 1st of a month. And you'll always see that fluctuation from month to month. What's more important is the trend. If you were to look at January, that showed 7,700, and then from then on, it was 8,000, 7,500, okay? It would really lend more legitimacy to the question, why all of a sudden did it jump?
Also, we have monthly parkers that pay, for example, in community health, that pay every 6 months. So you may see a big chunk like that on the month that they pay.
Marcus
okay.
office, a lot of places
Several
used to pay, they
places pay
pay.
like that.
Now, Central Ave is gone, right? You know, on that?
No,
And Ellis Street includes school.
yes,
Just making sure that I'm not missing anything.
nope.
What's a Union lot? Is that the one by the church?
Yes. Yes, the church is right next door.
It has meters in it. It's a meter box. Across from the CMCC.
That nobody parks in?
Nobody parks in.
The thing is, that goes to meter receipts, that's meter money, so that goes into a meter account.
So what's the
So it goes to
$90 and
on-street
$30?
parking.
Goes to meters, yeah.
But it's a lot that we're responsible to take care of. That doesn't make any sense.
If we put a kiosk on that lot, how much can it generate?
I don't think you can because
No, this
it
obligation
was
is parking
granted to the community health center, right? Is-
No,
See-
well, we made exception for
This-
community health, but
okay.
the NAACP across the street
There's
and the community
half the
minority center,
spaces,
there's X amount of spaces that they've been.
and they're out of
allowed.
business, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's something worthwhile revisit.
The CMCC is,
But you could put a kiosk in there instead of the meters, and the kiosk would monitor the spots.
And if there's somebody that can park in there, then they get whatever they get
How many
on
spots
Well,
are in
they're-
there?
key
I
code.
think, how many do they get, 8? They get a lot, don't they?
Who? I forget what
That
was
have
the,
the
There's 6 or
signs.
8, there's either 6 or 8 that have the signs. And
Yeah,
then there's another, there's gotta be, what, 30 spots in that lot, Mary?
I think there's 25.
Not 25.
and
If
either
it's small,
6
then
or 8
small
would have
lot.
signs that these are reserved for, but since they're closed now, we could revisit that.
They only had 2 or 3 spaces, CMCC. They never-
6
they
say
never-
reserved on them, on
Okay.
these plans.
Okay.
So this is the little one in between,
Yeah, the
community
narrow
that has the
one.
meters in it.
I think
Well,
it's-
Because I've had complaints from people that go into the Lynn Community Health Center because it's only 1 hour parking in with the meter.
You
And they're
could put a
stuck in there
kiosk.
for a
There are
2-hour
25 spots
appointment.
and
You need to go on the
2,
buffer lot.
They don't know that.
How much is,
They're not
Would a
sure that
kiosk,
they
you
can
know,
do that.
would it help?
You tell them that.
Right.
Is it worth it?
The health center's supposed to be telling them. that-
I had a few patients that come in where I work that complained to me, and that's what they said.
What's the complaint again, Bernice?
The complaint is those meters in that little lot are only 1 hour.
And it should be
And
what,
if you
2
go in
hours?
for a doctor's appointment,
yeah, it's never
if they
an hour.
don't know that they can go and buff them, they have to keep running out and throwing money in the meter, so they were
And
complaining.
technically, you
To
can't
me,
feed a meter.
Right, well, they
Yeah, but that lot wasn't
Stuck
designed
in
for them.
really, but I don't think they know about it.
Well,
But,
we've
yeah,
had
the
several
community health
discussions
center
with-
should be telling
With the
them.
health center, and I'd be happy to call
Right.
Gary Smith Walsh and remind him.
I did
that-
tell this patient of mine that he could go
Right,
in the
because
parking lot.
we can't guarantee that an hour's enough, 2 hours is enough.
Right,
What would a kiosk cost there?
And it's a cost on Andrew.
What was it
Right.
about?
it was only 25.
8,000?
But then you could take those meter heads and put them on the street for the ones that are broken.
Those are nice meter heads.
Because we have a major problem with arts.
I get complaints.
So we don't know what that lot generates. Do we know what that lot generates in average?
Almost nothing, very little. Because
Very
a lot
little.
of people have had, there's such an overflow in the Buffalo Street lot now that people are parking in there, and as long as they have their pass
That would be a good lot for the overnight
Okay.
parking
Yeah,
for
we've got,
residents.
we've got people who otherwise would be parking in Buffalo who are parking in that lot, so you can't just look at it from the standpoint of what it's generating, because those people, that money's not gonna be reflected in that lot.
Right, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of there are meters in there that off-street parking is getting nothing from, so why are we
Yeah,
responsible for
right.
it? That's my issue.
That would be a
It's
good
not
lot
who can use it, who
for
can't use
To reduce
it, when they should
parking,
use it.
parking rate for
But if
monthly
there are
parking.
meter heads in there and that revenue is going to the metered
It's not big enough.
stuff, then why are we responsible for it? That should go right to on-street parking, even though it's
First
a
20 gets it.
parking lot.
There you go.
So 20 spots, $45 a month.
It's 25 regular spots, 2 handicap spots, and 6 reserve spots, if this is,
That's
It is
correct.
if
correct.
this is correct.
I'd like to get a list of all the agreements that we have with all our lots. And some of them obsolete, or, I mean, are they grandfathered in?
What happened with a lot of them is to get the lot in, to take federal money or state money, that was the agreements they had to do. So when they turned it over to us, we inherited their,
And that was-
This actually
and that was
comes-
for life?
I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah, there's no time definition. Take the spaces from the Minority Cultural Center. That was forever. No, it just so happens that Jamie said they went out of business, but if they hadn't gone out of business, we'd be obligated for whatever the agreement was for those spaces. I want to
Well, I
say
don't know,
that.
you'd have to look at the deed, because the, even the multi-service center that's over where the shelter is, there's a time, 2017 is on that.
Yes.
And after that's over, we own it outright, and we don't have to follow any guidelines anymore. So you'd have to look at the deed and see, because maybe we think that it's just indefinitely, but maybe it's for a period of time.
But if you actually sold those as monthly passes, you'd be making
Mm.
a good revenue. Take the meter heads out, put monthly passes in, make it a monthly
Most of them
parking
are
lot.
monthly passes in there. If you go in there, you're gonna see them all from Lynn Community Health Center,
And where? For the meters?
in that little meter lot, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Because there's no room in the off-street lot.
So the overflow's going in there?
Yes.
Oh.
So maybe we don't need to address that until we put a price structure in place and see what that does, if anything.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on financial? Let's move on to the audit, which we already discussed the audit. So once we get that clearance on 30B, then we can discuss the audit. Okay?
Yeah.
Anything on new business?
Yes. I forgot to bring my copy of the letter, but we have a letter from Mary Fountain of my office.
I have it.
I ran out without my notebook with my, or any of my stuff.
Dear Commissioners, I am requesting use of the Johnson Street lot for Sunday, September 14th at 10 a.m. for a vehicle assembly for a parade. The Guatemalan community has been proactively working with the Mayor's Office, Police Department, and Lynn Parks Commission to plan for the annual Independence Day celebration in the city of Lynn. This day consists of a parade from City Hall to Keeney Park, where a festival and soccer tournament will take place. The City of Lynn Police Department will have assigned details for the parade, and they will be on site for the assembly of the vehicles. There will be approximately 50 vehicles in the parade, and the parade will start at 10:30 a.m. The use of this lot will positively impact the way the parade is organized in an attempt to keep an orderly and safe procession throughout the city. Thank you for your consideration for this request. Sincerely, Mary Fountain, aide to Mayor Kennedy.
I make a motion to approve that
Second.
letter.
Aye.
All in favor? Discussion? All opposed?
September
Motion
14th.
approved?
Who seconded?
I did.
Bernice.
Thank you.
That was actually at the request of the Lynn Police. It just came through our office because they knew about, well, they didn't know about the Johnson Street lot belonging to Top Street.
Do we need to put a sign out there or anything like that?
They'll put a detail officer out there, they'll take care of it.
Anything else on new business?
How often do we have to appoint officers? Do we have, I know every board I'm on, it's every
Supposed to
year, or
do it
every 2
annually.
years, or every 6 years, like, do we have a,
On the website, it should say expiration, right?
No, I don't mean
No.
commissioners.
No.
Oh,
he means-
commissioners.
I mean-
She means calling you me.
I just want to make sure that we're not out of whack, because every board I'm on, it's, you know, so-and-so is every 2 years, it has to be redone, or every
Planning
year,
board's
or
every
every
year.
6
Chairman.
months. I just want to make sure that there's no, are we held to that?
Robert's rules.
Because I've been here a
Every
year and a
board
half and we
commission
haven't done
that I know
anything
Every year
up
they do it.
since that.
I know Board of Appeals does it every year, planning does it every year.
I think
Traffic
every-
commission does, I think every board and commission does it every year.
So, okay, so I would like to make a motion that at our next meeting, people who want to be an officer, you know, or don't, or,
Come
you know,
forward. Okay.
everybody going forward. I think that vote should happen next time, but I think that people should think about it because I know I just sprung that on everybody. And for the record, I want no part of being.
What is the status of Corey? Because
We just
Yes,
signed
Did
that
I receive a
before
letter
we
from
got
him?
here.
no,
Okay, so, I mean, I know that he, you know, he's, through email, he suggested that he would step down, and he's never officially
so
gave
he
up.
needs to put a letter in.
Yeah.
Technically, after 3 meetings missed, I think somebody brought it up here about Willie Smart.
Yes.
When he was sick, and Willie unfortunately was on hospice. And I think somebody brought it up.
It's just that we have a constant vacancy.
Well, what's that being said for,
If we're looking to
department
fill
heads?
offices,
Huh?
we could,
what's that's being said for department heads if you miss 2 or 3 meetings?
like a
Okay,
fit.
so-
They don't have
To
the
break
same
a tie.
obligation.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
Right.
like I said, I just, the reason I asked the question is because somebody asked me how long it was that one would be, like, the secretary, and I'm like, I don't know, I have no idea. But it occurs to me that it's a question that needs to be asked, because if we're out of whack, and somebody makes a complaint about that, we have a problem. I also think that maybe we should not address that until, if he is stepping down, that
So
he's
that whoever
replaced,
that
because
replacement has an opportunity.
if they choose to do that.
Right.
So I'll reach out to Corey
Okay.
and find out his immediate plans.
Okay, so I'm gonna retract that
Okay.
last motion I
Two
just made,
meetings,
withdraw
in
it.
2 meetings.
Well, until we know about Corey's status, because, you know, he might say, hey, you know what, now
I'm ready.
I'm ready to be in and I wanna be the head honcho, I don't know.
Right.
But I just wanted to make sure that was addressed.
Okay.
Because somebody asked me about it, so.
Okay. Under new business, Jay, your contract's gonna be up shortly for off-street. What is your plans?
February.
Your contract's up, yep,
Yeah,
February.
I'm contemplating whether I'm gonna leave or not.
Leaving us off-street or leaving the city?
Leaving the city.
Oh my God, are you going to Florida? I'm very jealous.
No. I don't
But
wanna-
I'm not very jealous.
I don't wanna leave. so.
Everybody ends up in Florida.
Well,
Are you
I
gonna
guess
keep
I
it-
should have said
Not
going
me.
to.
Are you gonna just,
Everybody go
when you
on
decide,
Naples.
are you gonna just let the mayor know, or are you gonna let, how are you?
Well, I would assume I would let them know and then I would let you know.
Okay. All right. Anything else, any old business?
The kiosk on Andrew Street is working fine. Unfortunately, it still has some issues, but since they changed the central processing unit, it's been working great. I get a text, I think Mark gets a text, and Linda in the office gets a text every time there's a problem. Most of it is jams, paper jam, and I think a lot of the problems with the dollar shoots is sometimes the people just keep putting a bad dollar in, and after so many times, it comes back as a negative.
And every time it rains, new paper comes out because it has no cover on the top of
And that was
it.
the
It's a disaster.
Can we get that cover? I mean,
Remember I showed you a picture of the cover,
Make
it
a
was a few
motion
bucks,
for no
but
rain.
again, if that was moving, we put it up,
That's a disaster.
we should put a cover
2
over
to
it.
3 days.
Can we, yeah,
Really, it's a disaster.
how much does the cover cost?
I don't mean to laugh.
It was a lot of money.
That was
Gave
a
you
lot.
the-
Can we strap on an umbrella?
That's just the same thing.
I think Tasha should take shifts and hold the umbrella over it and talk to people.
Really?
For all the calls.
I just said it's hard.
But Mark actually usually responds to them, but we do get some calls now that the machine, the central processing unit is working fine since they changed it, and most of the problems now are in the inclement weather or somebody playing with a bill. And then the other problem we have is people sticking credit cards in the money section, and we have to go and pull them out.
Does it say, does
It does say,
it insert credit card here
Yes, it does.
in English?
and people have
That's the
said,
problem.
no, these are people read English that have problems. These are lawyers and other people who've had problems putting it in, this is like, I put it in, I
I'm
just
leaving that
realized it.
alone.
They were in a hurry.
We'll leave the lawyer jokes alone.
Leaving that alone.
They're in a hurry, that's all.
Anything else?
Well, yeah, because they just want to,
Is this
all
Jess?
this stuff.
How are you? Did you have anything that you want to add to our meeting, for the record?
No, not tonight, no.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. If anybody else has any, make a motion to?
Adjourn? I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Cut you off, Bernie.
Meeting adjourned.
No
Thank you.
fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so before we, let's set up a date for the next meeting. You guys willing to meet 2 weeks from today? We have homework to do.
Is that, oh, I don't,
That's a Tuesday after Labor Day?
Oh,
Is that the
that's
second
not-
one?
Really?
That's not
Is
good.
it?
that's the
Yeah.
second, I think.
It is the Tuesday after Labor Day. I am
You can't do it the
available.
following Tuesday because that's the election.
I'm available the day after Labor Day. I don't know who is and who isn't, but I am.
September.
I'll say yes for now, I'm not sure.
I'm on vacation that day, but I'll come in. It's easy, all my
Because
vacation.
you're going to be at the restaurant anyway, working?
No, actually, I'll probably be sleeping, because
It
I worked
depends
the
on where
church
I go.
festival that whole weekend.
Do you think we can get this room, or we'll know that?
I'm not sure.
I just have to call and ask.
Okay, so just where, I just like to write it down because I have
What do
to
you
ask
guys, what do we
every day.
decide, I'm sorry?
The second?
The second.